The objective is simple. Just win. Just win. That's the objective. And that winless streak that takes us all the way back until the 28th of December, 2023. It simply has to be 3 points for David Moyes' side tomorrow at the City Ground as Nottingham Forest host West Ham United. A Saturday 3 o'clock, a rarity for West Ham United. And boy, is the pressure on. Welcome back to West Ham Official. Hope you are all well. You join us for the match preview of Nottingham Forest versus West Ham, a game that feels like it has an increasing amount of importance because of that absolute calamity at the London Stadium last Sunday. I've got a couple of guests joining me to discuss tomorrow's game. Firstly, Phil, how are you?
Hello, Jake. Hello, Harry. How are you? I'm good, thanks.
Yeah, putting football to the side, I'm all right. But yeah, all good. Larry over there in US of A. Larry, how are you?
Very good. 2:00 in the afternoon here on a Friday. We finally get a game on Saturday. My morning is, like I said to you before, I mourned a little bit a couple days after last Sunday, so I'm ready to go.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I see we've got joining us in the chat. I hope everyone's well. Usual suspect says it's either impending doom Saturday or the second coming. I really have no idea. Unfortunately, I think it's probably going to be the first phrase that you've put in that, but we will see, of course, tomorrow. Everyone's saying I'm having a little chat. The West Ham way it is. It is the West Ham way. Miss Hammer, hope you are well. Thanks for joining us. Right, let's start. I don't really want to talk about last week too much because it's quite depressing. So let's just park that. What's done's done. It was embarrassing, pathetic, an annihilation, all the rest of it. But let's park that to the side. What's done's done. We've now got to focus on this game where we take on a disjointed and quite peculiar Nottingham Forest side. They've had a bit of a bizarre season. Nuno Espirito Santo has come in as manager. They got rid of Steve Cooper. They're lingering around that red dotted line, the relegation zone, and a side that pop up with a decent result every now and then. They go on quite a poor run, Phil. Yeah, they're a strange side for us. What have you made of them?
It's a weird one. Yeah, weird one with Nottingham Forest. I think since they came up last season, it's where obviously all you think about is X amount of players that they brought into the club, and they were down there near the bottom, and then they're sort of languishing around the relegation area. So you don't really see them as, progressing higher up the table, but they're prone to maybe get a surprise win here and there. So obviously, I was at the game in the reverse fixture. They didn't seem to pose too much of a threat, but they was on it when we lapsed concentration. So it's going to be an interesting one, like pretty much every game we play nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. We've managed to become narrow victors versus them in a quite not similar, Larry, but I mean, people were getting a little bit frustrated back in November when we played Forest the first time around this season. There were some frustrations around. Obviously, it's been amplified through January and it's continued into February, unfortunately, where you get to the stage now where I don't think it's a crossroads because I don't think the board will sack him if we lose this game. But I mean, for himself and just for the fan base, we could really deal with a result, couldn't we?
100%. Like I said, we haven't got a win yet in 2024. I think that I was looking we beat them 3-2 back in November. And we need a result. We need 3. If you start looking, we're at 8th right now, tied with Newcastle, and we have Brighton and Chelsea breathing down our necks. The reason why we've actually stayed between the 6th and 8th is just because of the points that we scored, that we accrued last year. But if you look at our team and the productions, it's just not there. Before we were squeaking by some wins and stuff like that, but I think we have a total of 36 goals this year, and we're not. And as we know, this year we're not getting anything. And I know we'll talk further about. I kind of dissected the team and what could be going wrong and stuff. The good news against Forest is, I think they've had a roller coaster year as well. If you follow them, you said, hey, they're doing bad, then they're doing good. They got the new manager in. He made one strategic move. Chris Wood was always sitting on the bench. He brought him in, I think, in the first or second game. That's when Chris Wood got that hat trick. Started playing really well. Good news for us is Wood's out tomorrow. So they don't score many goals either. They got like 30, which I was shocked with because I said I don't follow them too much, but I'd always see they'd have a good showing here and there. But tomorrow is a result that we need to get. I think it's a good idea for our players that it's not at home, because they're already going to have enough pressure after. I know we don't want to talk about it last week. That maybe they can go there in another territory and show up.
Let's hope so. Yeah, absolutely. Right, let's see. We've got joining us in the chat. Robert, thanks for joining us. I hope you are well. The Bowling Lounge. So I hope you are, mate. Sharky, 25 months as a member. Thank you very much indeed for your support. 25
Nice
months,
one.
2 years and a month. Why do you do it to yourself, Sharky? I don't know. Ask yourself, not me. But anyway, thank you very much, Sharky. Legend as always. Everybody saying hello to each other. Michael, hope you are, mate. We lose this, we are crap. They are 2 points above the relegation zone. Exactly.
That's
Peter,
right.
I hope you are well. David says you ain't beating Spurs, don't deal. We've already beat you once this season, Dave. So just go steady. Go steady, Ballsy. Michael's Paqueta got a sickness from his wife. She hates our football. Wouldn't blame him. I wouldn't blame him. We're not yet. We are not ready yet for tomorrow's game. We'll get on the team news a little bit later on. But Moyes, for once, actually did give a bit of an update in terms of the status of some players. So we'll get onto that a little bit later. Trini, I hope you are well as well. Well, in terms of Nottingham Forest, I mean, they bought Chris Wood in for that game, and he scored a hat-trick against his former club Newcastle after Nuno came in. And look, they're still in quite a treacherous position. They're 16th on 21 points, just 2 points above the relegation zone. So he hasn't cured everything, Phil. They've still had a pretty rocky season. And if we're being brutally honest, if it wasn't for how poor the three teams that have come up, they could well be in that relegation zone if it wasn't for that.
Yeah, it's very true. So they ain't really since they come up last year. It's just trying to scrape away from relegation. They don't want to be in the relegation battle, but that's what they're in. But they got a striker like Chris Wood, who has been down near the bottom of the table for a number of years with Burnley in the past. So if you want someone to try and get some goals to get you away from that, he's the man. So we're lucky that if he's not playing for us, even better. But I don't like I said, I don't know too much about their team either. I know they got a lot of players, so I couldn't tell you what their best team is or who I could say is their best core of players who can get you out of a sticky situation. But they'll always come up with a surprise.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? They're a decent side at home. That's probably what kept them up last year under Steve Cooper. They were a really good and difficult side to beat at home. The last time that we visited the City ground was right at the start of last season. Actually, it was back in August 2022, and if I say it was about 300 degrees, that's not even me exaggerating. It was absolutely boiling that day, and that stadium was rocking. It was their first game back in the Premier League since 1999, and the atmosphere got the better of us, and we should have won that game. We didn't, and I think that's a prime example of what that crowd and what that stadium can do. Is a proper old school stadium. They have atmosphere and sound coming from all aspects and all areas of the stadium. So once they get up and they get a goal lead or they get on top, their fans, they get behind them, and that's what we've got to be wary of, because we paid the price for it last year, and I don't think Moyes and us as a fan base can afford to do that again. I mean, just looking at the Premier League table, because of not how well, I suppose you could say, like, because of how well we worked in the first part of the season, how good we were at getting results is what I'm going to say. We wedged a good 6 or 8 point gap between the chasing pack. Now all of a sudden that gap has evaporated to 1 or 2 points that separate us and teams like Brighton and Chelsea. If we keep standing still, we're going to find ourselves 10th or 11th in the league. So look, we need to start picking up points just to solidify and just maintain that couple of point gap that we now have above the likes of Brighton and Chelsea, who are breathing down our necks now.
Yeah, right now you hit it right on the head. We're right now riding the waves on what we got end of 2023, the first half of the season. So we need to go in there, and the problem that we're having now is we're not squeaking out them close wins anymore, because we're seeing our defensive weaknesses. Teams have figured us out now. We're slow. You could see so many times, and we can go further into it, but Zuma cannot be on the pitch anymore. He is too slow. They just the teams that are attacking us. You can slow-mo and watch what's happening is they're just out-moving us. The speed of the other team's attackers against our defense. A guard last week had like two that, I like to call it the juke move. I know it's like a basketball too, but they would and fake them out, and then he would get a clear shot into the goal. We're not centering up on the attackers and getting in front of them and being physical enough. So these teams have figured us out on this, and I think that's why we saw it in the Man U game. And we saw it yesterday where they're just figuring out the defense. And then if Alvarez goes up there, whoever's next to him, if something happens and we make a defensive blunder, how many defensive blunders have we had? You could probably say for each match we at least have one giveaway because instead of going forward, and again, every time we pass it backwards and we do it so slow, I'm ready to have a heart attack. Mavapamba, when he passes the ball backwards, it's like he's on the pitch and the grass is about 10 feet high and it's going so slow. So we just need to get the points. We need to be solid in defense. It's just I get pumped up about it because the boys tomorrow, they're going on there. And know what? From last week, if they got the passion and they're playing for the badge, what they should be doing is, I don't care if they're going to go to Man City tomorrow. They're going to be playing with all. And what I want to see them is laid out all on the pitch. You know what I mean? If I can see effort. I know one time, I think when I know we don't hate talking about last week, and Rice was trying to calm the crowd down. But if you saw him to go, I watched Emerson pass by him, and he looked like somebody just stole his lunch. He was so down like this. So we need to see heart out there tomorrow. So to me, I don't care how the fans. If I was them and the fans are all excited and all that, I would use that as energy. But they can't give up on the pitch. They can't hold their head down. They got to play with hustle, and then Moyes has got to push that team to do that. But it's on the players as well.
The fact of the matter is that where all this comes from, and it all stems from the tempo, Phil, and that's where the issue is the tempo and tone that we convey is just dreadful. I mean, when you watch us and the way we roll the ball across the back line and nobody moves for the ball, and honestly, if you can you can play a game with yourself. When we get a throw in, try and find somebody that moves, because you end up with somebody there trying to throw it for 30 seconds and not one player moves. The tempo of us, it's like we're told to play walking football at times, because I mean there's just no progression with it. There's no intensity, and that's where our downfall is. And I mean we got it handed to ourselves last week, good and proper, and we can't afford to let that happen again, because they're an energetic side, Nottingham Forest, and we need to react to that, and we need to nullify that, and we need to just try something a little bit different, which will link into team news and who's back and available in just a second. But overall, it's just the tempo of things. It just sets it off on the wrong foot to start with, Phil.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, very static, I think is the word.
Yeah, static.
Static, lethargic. I mean, I've seen, especially with all these dodgy slow back passes to the keeper, which is... Yeah. It's always, I worry just as much as everybody else in the ground and everyone watching. But that's just amateur. You shouldn't be doing that. And I know there's been a lot of, there's been talk about there's lack of leaders in the team and all that. At the start, there was a lot of defensive mistakes, even at the start of the season when we was doing well. And a lot of that was pinpointed at Gerd at the time. But now Zuma is getting into those habits now, and I think because he's got bigger responsibility now, he's the captain. Yeah. It puts more scrutiny on him.
And the overarching issue with it is just defensively, just cut in, Phil. The overarching issue is we've now got every single centre half at the club has got a flaw. That's where the issue is, and every single centre half at the football club is making mistakes. So we're making mistakes every week, and we haven't had that for a while. And that's where, we've had it from Zuma's crept in. They've crept into Mavropanos, the Bristol City game. Ogbonna's got a mistake in him as well. Every single one of them, a Gerd we've known for ages has had a mistake in him. So when you put all those together, and it's no matter what combination of centre-halves Moyes tries, nothing's working, Phil.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really you can do about that other than say defend better. It sounds as simple as that, but if you've got people, someone like John Heitinga, who was a defender for Everton, in a decent squad for
David
Everton.
Moyes was a defender.
David Moyes was a defender. I was saying about Heitinga, he worked under Moyes at Everton as well. and they were pretty solid back then. So I don't know, it's always been like that. Even when you have defensive-minded coaches or people who played as defenders, we can't defend. It's the easiest thing to do in the world, really, if you know what you're doing.
But no,
But
you both. I'm sorry, Phil. You both
Yeah,
bring
go.
up valid points on the tempo, lethargic, and that is start. Who is the actual leader? Who is the leader in the locker room? They can't stand for this stuff. You need to bring them all together, pump them up. And if it's unacceptable, I don't care if you bring somebody from the under 21s. Somebody's got to have some freaking heart, because I can tell you something like that. People say Moyes in, Moyes out. But if everybody sees that the players are playing for the badge and they're out there busting their butts and playing real hard, are we really going to say something? Because you can tell if somebody is or not. And the slow-mos, when we push the ball back, and like you said, we're going so slow, look lethargic, there needs to be a captain out there on the pitch too, and then in the locker room to say, hey, what's going on here? Because it seems like it's contagious. You know, the only one that's running around with his head cut off looking really like he's trying hard, you see Bowen. He was trying everything he could. That's all the players should be that on every position. You know what I mean? And Kudus can do that too, but something's bothering him too. I don't know what it is. I can't put a finger on it. But the team, you know, for the last couple matches, and I know we have injuries, but, you know, whoever's out there, whatever person goes out there, they just got to play with some hustle. You know, I see a lot of standing around, like you said. You're exactly right. Like you said, Jake, that looking around at who to pass the ball to. People are like standing around. They're not moving to it or trying to make cuts and different things like that. And that becomes frustrating. It becomes frustrating to all of us. And then we talk about slow ball and all that. That makes it even worse. You know what I mean? When they're playing like that, they just need to get some passion back into when they're on the pitch. And hopefully we see that tomorrow.
Look, if I was in charge, you know, not that I am in charge, but if I was in charge, then the first thing I'd do is take the captaincy off of Kurt Zuma. And look, I have backed Kurt Zuma in arguments in the past, but there's no doubt about it. This calendar year, he's been absolutely awful. And that leadership aspect of his game just simply isn't there. I take the captaincy off of Kurt Zuma. I give it to Edson Alvarez in midfield, because that's where the captain should be, at the heart of midfield. You know, because he can see behind him. You know, he's in the midfield, so he gets one of the best views of it. He can impact things, and believe me, if you give that armband to Edson Alvarez, he ain't going to take any crap. I can tell you that for nothing. And that's the first change I'd make. And then all of a sudden that might have a knock-on effect. And then you've got Alvarez there, who's then, you know, being that talker and being that, you know, speaker, and just getting a bit of passion and leadership back into it, because I think he's the perfect man for it. You know, you can see he's got those leaderships, you know, traits in him. And I think that's where the issue stems from to start with, is who's got that armband. You know, if it's not given to Alvarez, you've got to then give it to Bowen, because, you know, Bowen then is the next logical player in that line. If we sort that out, go brilliant, there we go. Then, oh, hello, you've got a little, you know, thumbs up next to you there, Larry. What's going on there?
I don't know. I like it though. I didn't say anything.
I don't get it. No, I think it's when you nod your head, just like sort of nod your head. Are you? Oh, it's not doing it now. Oh.
I think your dad's in the background doing some crazy stuff.
He's not. Do you think he'd know how to do that? Not a chance. Not a chance.
That's a good shout on Alvarez. And you know what? Because that's a great shout, because he is the only one out there speaking half the time. I even remember just before the match last Sunday, he's out there trying to explain to guard, like set up different techniques and stuff. So Alvarez is out there. He does have the emotion. So that's one of my, him or Bowen. I like both those calls. That's good.
Yeah. And you know what? My job is done, because I've just made that joke about Dad not having the technology to put that thumbs up on the screen. And I've just heard Mum laugh downstairs. So my job is done. Well done, Mum. Thank you. Peter says Elanga will run rings around our non-existent defence. That's one player they brought in, which I thought was an astute signing. And, you know, before Peter mentioned it, I sort of forgot about him. Elanga, good player, got some pace, good, tricky, you know, winger. And I think Peter's right, Phil, that it's a player that can cause us severe problems.
Oh yeah, when you got someone like him, look, we know about the pace situation with someone like Soufal. If he's going to come up against him, then he'll just tear him. He'll tear him a new one. And we've said about, you know, Zuma's, he's as slow as anything nowadays. So it's that'll just be a case of, you know, strength and strength. But when you got someone like Elanga who he'll have the creative freedom to do what he wants if he is given the ball and the chance.
Yeah.
So it's all about trying to, if we can stop him, then hopefully we can just be quick enough and more reactive to get that ball forward. Otherwise, it'll be another one of being lethargic and slow, and then he'll pick the ball up and wreak havoc.
Yeah, he's second in their goals, and he's number one for their assists. And so he's the guy we're gonna have to stop. And if he's on there going against Sufal, that means what we have. If we're gonna have Kudos having come back, he usually does a good job coming back to help defend with Sufal when he needs it. The problem is we're taking away from our attack when we do that. So that'll be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, absolutely. And hopefully we've got a plan to nullify that threat. All right, come on. Before we carry on, hit that like button if you haven't already. We're on 15 likes, 40 people watching. Smash that like button. Let's get them up to 20 or 30 at least. Jay says, the shame is our side is nothing without Paqueta. And from what I'm reading, it looks like he will be off in the summer, back to square one. He is that creative spark, isn't he? And when he's not in that side, we look really, devoid of ideas, and that's been evident in the last month when we've missed Paqueta. He's back training, but Moyes has confirmed, or he did say, that he won't be available for this game. We'll come on to team news once I've caught up with comments, and then after that we'll go on to predictions, so stay tuned right here on West Ham Unofficial. Peter says this game will tell us if Moyes has lost the dressing room. Do you know what? I agree. That's probably a fair reflection. He also says our defence has turned Welsh as it's full of leaks. Jesus Christ. Michael says 3 weeks ago, Man United were behind us. Now they're 5 points clear of us. And I know we've played them and we've beat them, and they beat us. But that's a prime example of, you don't really need that stat to tell you. All you need to know is that we haven't won a football match since December. And that tells you all you need to know. We are winless in 7, and we've let a really good position in the Premier League slip. And we haven't just let it slip, we've let it evaporate, and we're now back to a sort of dogfight now, and we're in a dogfight of those European places, and we're unprepared for it. If we play anything like we did last Sunday for the rest of the season, we can kiss goodbye to any form of European football next season indefinitely. So there needs to be a response, and I'm hoping we're going to see it tomorrow, Phil.
No, 100%. Look, it does say a lot, really, with, when Paqueta got injured against Arsenal, and we haven't won since. Says a lot, doesn't it? I know exactly. He was rushed too soon for that Bristol City game, and then rightly came off after 10 minutes. But you have definitely lost a creative spark. Obviously, we know what he can do, and we know how well he's performed when he's played alongside Bowen and Kudus. And you lose that key component, it's not going to function as well, and that's obviously evident. I think it was a good point about if Moyes has lost the dressing room properly, depending on how we play tomorrow. If they're all with their heads down, then that's it. It's not all good. So it's really important. We have to just go for it, because they know, the players know. I assume the very first day of training afterwards, they probably have to re-watch that performance last week.
Yeah, did you guys see that? Did you see that Sufal message to the fans?
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
It was like an apology to the fans. Hey, thanks for sticking with us. The ones that stayed, the ones that left, I understand. I probably would have left too. At least you're hearing some emotion. That's what I want to hear.
Exactly.
Give me something. Give us something. We bleed for this badge. We love it. So come on, give us something that you're with us. You know what I mean? So at least somebody's out there saying something. So I thought
he cares. He does care.
And that's what you want to hear, right, Phil?
Yeah.
Precisely. Precisely. Right, let's take some more of your comments, then we'll go on to team news. Peter says we only have one decent defender, and it's Emerson, and that's the sad state of it, really. And Emerson has been superb this season, but apart from that, we are struggling. Michael says we play at a pace that Zuma can't keep up with. Absolutely. Trini says Agard and Mavropanos are good defenders. They are just not low block defenders. Moyes' deep defensive tactics are wrong. Yeah, I'd agree with that. There's a decent player inside Agard, but we just need to get it out of him. Shark says, remember, Jake, the Europa League draw is next week. West Ham are one of the 8 teams seeded. It's got to the point where my viewers are reminding me what's happening in the West Ham world. I love this. I haven't got to organise anything myself. Shark told me that. When is the draw? It's Friday, right? What have I got on Friday? That's a bit of a dodgy day. What time is it? The Europa League draw is 11 o'clock. There's no chance.
I'm working.
Yeah, I'll be at school. If it was 12:30, I'd be all right. But there ain't no chance of 11 o'clock. That's a shame because I like doing the draw. Maybe what I'll do is I'll come home and I'll do a reaction to it next Friday. So it's not a watch along; it's a reaction when we're all going to Quebec away and hoping there's a McDonald's in, outer Quebec. I don't even know what that is, but I mean that's
Azerbaijan, isn't it?
Is it Azerbaijan? That's one of the possibilities. Of course, because the playoff first legs were played last night, and most of the games are finally poised in the balance. So it will be interesting for sure. Peter says, whoever is in manager, hopefully not Moyes. We need proper centre halves. Hop along and Nathan. I know he calls him Nathan Agard, doesn't he? Hop along, quite like that. Yeah, all right, Bowlesy. All right, yeah. We've beat you once this season, Bowlesy, so just hush. Sharky says, do you think anyone will be dropped from last week's disaster class? Mavropanos and Ogbonna just start in my humble opinion. Cornet in for Soufal with Johnson at right back. Johnson plays again for me. Mavropanos and Ogbonna, I mean, those two worked against Arsenal, so why not give those two a go? Is there any other glaring changes that you'd make? I mean, Antonio is a possibility, but putting that to the side, any other changes that you could make? I mean, we haven't got any other players to play, to be honest with you, but would either of you two make any other changes?
Sharky took my thing. I like to put the Mavropanos and Ogbonna in there right away. The Johnson part, it's tough to see. I think I would start with Soufal to see if he starts getting eaten up like we were just talking about, bring him in maybe to replace him. I'd like to maybe I would go with a 4-2-3-1, and I would put Cornet out on the left wing, but we know this is what Larry would do. Moyes, he probably won't. But I try to put Cornet out there. I would start, I think, putting Antonio. I'd have him come off the bench, just because it's all there. So I'd actually start where I would have maybe Bowen in the middle, Kudus to the right, or irreversible. Either way, they both are strong on the right wing. And then, believe it or not, I'd put Ings in there for the lead right there and go from there. We need a shake-up, and we need to change up the lineup some. Somebody needs to let them know that, you're competition for your job or something, but you just need to do something different and go from there. That's what I would do. But yeah,
absolutely. So if Antonio isn't a starting possibility, Phil, would you go Ings just to mix things up a bit?
Give him a go. He's still a striker at the end of the day. I know he ain't scored this season, but just to change it up. I mean, he played it in a more deeper role against Sheffield United. To put him there. If you're going to stick with going up top, have things behind him, and then almost play like as if they're two up front. Because when Ings is on the ball, he's actually pretty good on his feet when he's on one. So I'll do that, and it's the case. I know a lot of other people probably agree. We don't know why Souček's still starting if he's not on his A game, but Moyes always loves to have him starting. So. Yeah, he's another one who has to be dropped if we want to play the way that we've all thought of.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. Robert says, but Alvarez won't be on the pitch for half of the games. He gets so many yellow cards and illnesses, and he does pick up little niggles as well, doesn't he? But then again, Zuma's not on the pitch for half the game, so you could make that argument either way. Could Ward-Prowse be a captain call? Not for me, because I think there have been some huge question marks laid over what Ward-Prowse does. What I'd say about Ward-Prowse is I understand what you're saying, Jay, but having him and Souček in the same midfield is like self-suicide because they do similar roles. Ward-Prowse is a better option than Souček, but having those two in the same midfield is having two people trying to do the same thing, and they've both got very low ceilings. Ward-Prowse is a tidy player in midfield as long as he's got a Paqueta in there for the creative spark, and he's got an Alvarez there to firmly defend as well. He's that sort of player that picks things up and moves it all on nicely, doesn't lose the ball very often, but he's not an outstanding, and he was captain of Southampton, so maybe that's a possibility. I don't know. Gibbs White in midfield, good player, as well as question marks over the fee that they paid for him, but he's come out good for him. So fair play. Yeah, I'm surprised as well, Michael. He hasn't tried Fabianski on the left wing. Anyone for that tomorrow?
Might as well go for it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I completely forgot that we got Calvin Phillips as well.
So I actually. Yeah.
I've completely forgot.
Out of the change out, and like we said, we're paying a lot of money. I think Mike said it on your last watch along. for him to get play time, he's got to get out there. So I would start him. I'd start Phillips tomorrow. But he probably won't. They'll probably have Souček back there if they with Alvarez and Souček back there. And so, but yeah.
Michael says, look on the bright side, we will have 300 million to spend in the summer when all our stars leave. I'm going to have to just take that away from you, Michael, actually, because due to FFP and profit and sustainability, we can't just spend money that we get in. So there's still a limit on it. So we won't be spending 300 million, maybe 100 million, but not quite 300. Exactly. Yeah. And the good thing about 3 o'clock on a Saturday means you can enjoy your Sunday. We've got 2 3 o'clockers in about 3 weeks, because Everton away at the start of March is a 3 o'clocker on a Saturday as well. So, yeah, we're getting on a roll. We're getting on a roll before the European Sunday 2 o'clocks begin once again. But Marshall's on the bench for West Brom tonight. Yeah, he hasn't been getting too much game time. Hopefully they can get him involved and get him some viable minutes. We might be recalling him at this rate if we lose any more players. David says, so no wins in the last 7, 5 wanted in the next 12. So his target is 5 wins from 19 games. Well, yeah, exactly, because he said today in his pre-match press conference that he'd be happy with 5 wins as a start for the rest of the season. I mean, that's ambition if you've ever seen it before, isn't it? But it is what it is. Antonio must be used as an impact sub. Cannot risk him from the start. Haven't you got a dental appointment at 11 o'clock? Cough, cough. Oh, so I can conveniently do the Europa League draw en route to the dentist. I like your thinking, Robert. I like your thinking. I'd probably say doctor's appointment, because I absolutely despise the dentist and I don't want to use a dentist in any capacity whatsoever. So I'm going to go with doctor's appointment. But Robert, I like your style. You can stay. I like your style. That's the best comment of the night so far. Got to do. There we go. Who would have thought that was coming? Look, most popular dentist appointment is. Don't you two know?
No.
Come on, Phil.
2:30.
Thank you very much. There you go. Well done, Peter. I got these two, up to it eventually. I just knew as soon as I saw that about the dentist, I knew that was coming, Peter.
I know deer in the headlights.
2:30. Do you get the joke, Larry, or do you want me to explain it?
Explain it.
2:30.
So I'm usually quicker than this. Maybe I need some coffee instead of water. Got it.
There we go. Jason, taking away the need of a striker coming in, I think a defensive rebuild may be more important. I think you're probably right. Yeah, I think you're probably right. We're going to lose 3-0 tomorrow. Do you know what? I don't blame you for thinking that, because if it's anything like last week, that wouldn't surprise me. So all of you, get your predictions into the chat whilst we head through the team news then. Here we go. Right, I need to change this screen here, don't I? Bear with me 2 seconds. Wait, what am I pressing here? There we go. Right, I'm just going to run through the team news, then we'll discuss it. So David Moyes has offered a comprehensive, that's a good word, update regarding the availability of several first-team players, blah, blah, blah. Here we go. Right, let's get to... here we go. Right, Mikel Antonio is back and available. He's been back training and has probably had a week or so's training with us, not with Is. It's the first typo of the day. So he's back in the squad. Keep a count of the typos, because there'll be a few. They like to, put one in there just to try and get me out. Mikel is back and available. We will need to see how he is, but he's been back training and has probably had a week with us. He's back in the squad. Zuma and Alvarez were both substituted at halftime in Sunday's home defeat against Arsenal, but Moyes was, what's that say? Moyes was Moyes has alleviated. That's another good word. Moyes has alleviated any fears regarding the duo's availability this weekend. The Scot continued. Kurt Zuma is fine. He was just subbed because he was playing crap then, really, wasn't he? Our biggest problem was Edson Alvarez, who came off at halftime due to illness. What had he recovered? Had he discovered an illness during?
I'd be sick of that. I'd be sick of how that first half went as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But conveniently, he's recovered. Oh, what a surprise. However, the Irons are still without Lucas Paqueta as the Brazilian international continues to work his way back from a calf setback sustained in early January. There's the nice new training kit that they're charging about £100 for on the club website. The manager said the number 10 is making progress, having started to... Did they mean to put a picture of Paqueta there? Because they're talking about Paqueta up here. And they're talking about Paqueta down there, and they've put a picture of Alvarez there.
100%. or
I could do a better job than whoever does this. Honestly, sign me up. The manager said the number 10 is making progress, having started to work on the training pitches at Rush Green, but the trip to Nottingham will come too soon for Paqueta. He's not fit and available, but he's been on the grass for a couple of days. He's not there yet. We've missed Lucas Lowe. There was a period before the AFCON started where he was playing really well, but you have to remember we lost Kudus for games around that period, as well as Agurd and Jarrod Bowen due to an injury, with Antonio out as well. But I've seen Newcastle have had big injuries this season. Manchester United have had injuries as well. We're just having a bit of that period since January. So he's blaming injuries basically. And there's Danny Ings, beautiful Danny Ings. Kids for a quid, Sunday the 10th of March. They're giving free marketing away now. So they want to sell some tickets. So Kids for a quid, Sunday the 10th of March versus Burnley. There we go. So time to take a breath. To round up, basically, the main bit of news is Mikel Antonio back and available. A super sub or a starter tomorrow, Larry?
Super sub. I say bring him on about 60th minute, depending where, Moyes won't put anybody any earlier than that, but I think 60th that would be ideal, I think. Don't rush him in right away there and stuff like that. I think that would be good.
Fair enough. Phil, do you agree?
Oh, 100% agrees. I've always said it for a period of time now, it needed to be a super sub. Because I thought when he's starting, there was something that's not right anymore. So when he's fit and raring to go, him coming on as a substitute, a lot of defenders in the Premier League, they'll fear him. So he knows he'll be raring to go, and he is a positive sort of character as well. So that can always be a bit of a confidence booster as well in the changing room, and then hopefully around the stadium as well.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting sort of contemplation Moyes has got to have now, is because do you put Antonio in just for something a bit different because we've missed him? I think we've missed that outlet up front, and Bowen has not been as good when he's played through the middle. So I mean, would it be the orthodox move to just bring him in back up front and Bowen back on the right, or is a super sub now his new role in this West Ham squad? I don't know. Of course, Moyes will answer this question at 2:00 tomorrow, where the chances are I'll probably be here reacting to it on a build-up team news show. But yeah, I'm not sure. I honestly don't even like to delve into what Moyes is thinking, because that's a really hard place to go to. So I don't bother with that anymore, and we'll just see what happens. If it was me personally, I'd actually start him just for something a little bit different, if I'm being totally honest, because I'm fed up of seeing an underprepared and underutilized Jarrod Bowen trying to play up front, where, bless him, he can't play that role to the best of his ability. So a bit of a change, I think, is in order, and I think it'll probably come. I think Moyes will play Antonio just for something a bit different. That's my gut instinct anyway. Calvin Phillips won't be fitting till the last game of the season at Man City, when he won't be able to play because he's a lone player. Right, predictions. There was a 3-0 earlier, 3-1, 1-1 draw, 3-1 to them again. As we won't see the pitch for the trees. 3-1 to them, as we won't see the pitch for the trees. I'm guessing that's a pun at Nottingham Forest, as in Forest, I'm guessing. But I'm not quite grasped that, Peter, unfortunately. Red card for Gibbs White for reacting to a tackle from Alvarez. WHU58 as I would start with Bowen on the right, with Kudus and Ings down the middle, and Scarles on the left, with Alvarez and Phillips behind. A 4-2 forward. That's a little bit spontaneous. Something a bit different. I'm guessing that means 2-1 WHU, Jay. That's what I'm inferring there. But if it is, the confidence. David's predicting Payne, which is a pretty safe bet. Robert's predicting Antonio to play right back.
Those were the days.
Not after his outburst on Monday Night Football the other week with that stupid beret on, saying he hated playing right back. I can't imagine that's going to ever happen again. More chance of Stevie Wonder. The West Ham with it. I didn't read that before I put it on the screen. Oh dear. Jesus Christ. Elanga will be taken out in the first 5 minutes by Alvarez and will be red carded. If Antonio plays, he'll wear his beret to put them off with. Honestly, that beret was quite a questionable look on Monday Night Football, wasn't it? Very questionable. Please no Zuma tomorrow. His knees need oiling like the Tin Man. Peter's predicting he's going to fall asleep before half-time. You lot are on fire tonight. You lot are on fire. I don't have faith in Alvarez. So reckless. He gets the yellow card most games. I take that point into consideration, but the fact of reality is, whenever you take Alvarez out, it all falls to pieces. I like Alvarez. I think he was a really good signing. I think he's pretty vital to any sort of success that we have. Got to be in it to win it. You certainly are. You certainly are. Start Danny Ings. There we go. 2-1 either way, says Michael. Predictions then, boys. I'm going to go first. I'm going to be brutally honest. I don't ever predict a West Ham loss, but I'm going to give 2 predictions, like I do when we play Man City. Instead we're playing Nottingham Forest. My head is saying 1-0 Forest. My heart is saying 1-0 West Ham. David predicting a riot. Phil, what are you predicting?
It was a comment which popped up just a minute ago. 2-1 either way.
Yeah.
I can't really say who is going to win it, but it could be a 2-1. But I don't know to who.
2-1 either way, says Phil. Larry, what are you going for?
I'm going 2-1 West Ham. I think that we're going to come out motivated and play. I'm going to try to stay positive. But I can tell you what, if we don't come out with emotion and hustle, then it's going to be a long day. Because then, like what you guys said earlier, then you're going to see if they don't come out with that passion and hustle, Moyes has lost them. You know what I mean? So it'll all depend on that. I'm going to think positive 2-1 because we're always going to give up a goal, it seems like lately, at least. So I'm going to hope and pray for 2-1.
Yeah, I hope so. Dad's well proud of this. Antonio will come on tomorrow and beret them.
Hey, well done, Richard. That's the comment of the night.
Do you know what? I very rarely give your commenting credit, but tonight I will, Father. That is superb. That is superb. Our defence will wear Pampers. Right, we'll be Burnley at home. Do you know what? I'm inclined to agree. It will be the 6-year anniversary, or 7, is it? I don't know. 6-year anniversary to the day of Burnley at home, where we had those devastating protests against the board. That is a daunting statistic. That is on the exact same day against the exact same club, and we find ourselves in probably not as bad, but we're still in a pretty dire, morale as a fan base, and that hopefully we can pick things up again, but next home game, if it's that one or before, it's not going to be pretty. That is for sure. If there's anyone left in the stadium, and I don't blame them one bit for leaving, to be totally honest. But final thoughts, Larry, I'll start with you.
I want to thank everybody in the chat. It looks like all of them are at the pub the way I'm getting these jokes out of here. So it's quick. But no, I'd say let's passion, effort, and that's what I want to see. If I can see that out on the pitch, no matter what the result, and I see they're trying, I want to win. But that's it. And we'll be able to tell, because you can tell how they're doing it. So I just want them to come out and play hard.
Absolutely. Phil, finish things off, mate.
Yeah, forget about what happened last week. We know how bad it was. This is a week of getting back to your best, trying to turn any frowns upside down. Let's win the supporters back. That's what I'd be saying if I was saying that to the players. Win the supporters back, and they'll win us. We'll win, and then we'll win 3 points.
Yeah, my expression for tomorrow's game is just a depressed sigh. But hopefully that can be turned into joy tomorrow. I'll join you live for a build-up show at 1:45 UK time, 15 minutes before those all-important lineups come out. Will Antonio return to the side? Will Moyes throw in a surprise curve, or Lucas Paqueta? I wouldn't put it past him. And who will be that centre-back partnership? All of those questions will be answered tomorrow afternoon, so join me for then. Phil, Lawrence, thank you very much indeed for joining me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
He's ruined it now. He's tried to do another beret joke, and it's just ruining it a little bit. Oh no, I've pressed the wrong button now. Balls. Keep calm and beret on. No, the first one was good. You didn't need a second one. You've ruined it.
You're going to the well too many times, Richard.
Exactly. Exactly.
Bury your head in the sand.
It's everywhere. That was a good one. I like that.
Well done, Phil. Well done.
3-2
West Ham, says Robert. That's it from us. Everyone in the chat, thank you very much indeed. Good show as always, and you and for my guests, thank you very much indeed. There's only one thing left to say, boys.
Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons, and we will see you soon right here on West Ham Official. If you can keep the faith, you're doing better than me. So take that. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.